Welcome, Betsy Muller. Betsy is the president of Indigo Connection, and she's one of the world's experts in emotional freedom techniques. So thank you for joining us on Guess Your Productivity Bottleneck, Betsy.
Oh, thank you. I'm wondering what will come up in this.
Certainly
something to help me.
Well, hopefully there is value once we're finished. Yeah. So before we jump into your bottleneck, will you please tell the viewers a little bit about what you do and who you are, that kind of stuff?
Okay, well, I've been in business 16 years. I'm known most as a trainer and a master practitioner of emotional freedom techniques, also known as tapping. It's one of the incredibly cool tools for calming down a busy entrepreneur's mind so that they can be so calm they can make really good decisions and they can use their time and energy in effective ways and create great stuff. So I love working with authors and creative types and women who are maybe transitioning even to a retirement kind of job. So I train practitioners to actually use the technique with clients. So that's mostly it's been on Zoom, and we can talk a little bit more about that. That'll probably come up as we discuss my frustrations, because there's a part of my business that I haven't been able to do lately, the live stuff, which is very close to my heart.
So if someone has no idea about EFT, what would you say would be something that they would want? What's a takeaway for them?
Okay, so I think anybody who finds themselves blocked in any way in life, it usually can be traced back to a limiting belief or a specific event that went wrong that created this reaction in the mind that stops you. And emotional freedom technique helps you access this part of the body where that moment got stuck. It's an embodiment transition, I guess. So say you got put down during a speech in high school, that would be an example. And you can, so that every time you get up and speak now, you get all sweaty and you stammer. By addressing that memory, accepting the memory, and actually putting focus on it and intensifying it, we say a statement like, even though I have this memory of public speaking and it shut me down and it's still living inside me, I accept it and I'm willing to love myself too. It's something like that. You create an affirmation and then that activates the thought energy. It activates that in your mind, in your brain. It actually triggers your amygdala, which is your stress response, your fight or flight place. And you start tapping on specific points, which are meridian endpoints that start balancing the brain. So they send a signal to calm down as you're focusing on a stressful thing. And so what you're doing is you're patterning the brain to be present to that ugly thought in a calm body. And so you rewrite your software in your brain and your body so that in the future, when that trigger comes up, you don't react in the unpleasant way. You have a new way of reacting and you actually can choose because you're so calm. You decide, what do I want to be when that happens next time? Right. So it's a very fast, you can use it in the moment. Like, if something bad happens in your business or you have a bad phone call or ugly email, you say, even though this really stirred me up, I accept all my feelings, and you say it 3 times and then you tap all the points. It'd take too long to show it here, but I have tons of videos out there if people want to look at them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Like, it always amazes me at the power of our brains. Yeah. And the power we have to, and this is not going to be the right terminology, but the power we have to rewire our brains or to create new neural pathways and just say, okay, I'm unwilling to continue this. And instead I'm going to work towards doing this.
And you might even not believe that would work. Like, how could that really work? And it still works. That's what's cool about this technique. And even the research is bearing it out. But the main thing that happens when you tap on the point, your cortisol, your stress hormone, goes down about 43% in an hour, which nothing else will do that. So, the benefit of that, when your cortisol goes down, you lose weight, you sleep better, and every decision is better. Think about it. If you've calmed down and you're feeling
Well, yeah, you're not making those decisions in the moment when you're under stress and,
oh, never.
or in my case, angry.
I tell my clients, never make a decision when you're worked up. Just say,
right.
I'll get back to you on that.
Right? Yes, absolutely. All right. So you love the work that you do.
Yes.
And it would be awesome if you could do more of it potentially. So what's keeping you, I'm putting words in your mouth, and so that may not be true, but what's keeping you from accomplishing everything you want to accomplish in a day?
Okay. I guess the biggest thing that comes into my world is this desire to have fun. And also because my husband's retired, there's always this calling from the other part of the house, like, can you come play with me? And so, I'm really about balance. And actually, I will say this, when I have fun, I'm more creative and I do get more done, but it's still, I think because I'm getting older now, I'm trying to find the right balance of the new fun. And especially coming out of COVID too, it's just, it's very tempting to spend a whole lot of time doing fun. And so what I tend to avoid when I'm having fun is some of those harder things, like dealing with the conventional audiences who are starting to open up to what I do. So I need to have my fun to be able to even deal with those people because they still have their beliefs about, how woo-woo my world is, but I'm not woo-woo at all. I'm very smart, actually. They'd only open up to it, and they are. So is that enough for you to go off of?
Maybe. So what I think I'm hearing you say is what's preventing you from getting everything that you want to get done in a day is that you want to have more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I also think I heard you say part of it is because your husband's retired and we're getting towards the end of COVID or we're at I don't know. We're at that place where the world is opening back up to us again, whatever space that is in COVID.
Yeah, but it's not quite opening up because, I used to do a lot of live events. I used to do retreats, which I haven't done a retreat in 2 years now, which is like breaks my heart. And it's hard booking things now even because places aren't quite opened up. So enough said about all of that.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the bottleneck is kind of that idea of not enough space in the schedule for the amount of fun you want and for you to be able to get the work done. Mm-hmm. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. And it's really, it's outreach sales call kind of, I don't know. I don't like to call it sales call. It's presenting.
Right, it's outreach. Yeah.
Presenting.
Okay. So my question for you is, of that work that you're not getting to that you would rather, that you will prioritize fun over or many things potentially over, mm-hmm. How much of that work is in your zone of genius? So the work that only you can do in your business, the work that you are uniquely gifted at.
Yeah, it's probably mostly in my zone of genius because that relationship with clients is or students or groups is important to me. I don't think there's another person necessarily that can do that. For that outreach.
And so other than outreach, what are the other things not making it to the top of the list?
I'm covering everything else pretty well, I would say at this point. Okay.
So then
I'm not letting anybody down.
Okay. So then if we were to rephrase back at the beginning where we said, what's the bottleneck, and it was fun, squeezing out room for more work. All I'm hearing now is the only work that's not getting done is the outreach.
Yeah, I could be doing more. I mean, I'm doing it, but I could be doing more.
But you could be doing more outreach. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's not all the work that's getting smushed out. It's just the one piece of work. And so then my next question is, how much outreach is enough?
That is a good question because I don't want to be too busy because I want to have fun, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And actually, the outreach, the easy outreach are the perfect clients. So, every time I do a class, I create more, more groups and more, clients and certification candidates and all that, you know, I don't want to be overwhelmed. So I am pacing myself pretty well, I would say.
Yeah. So I think, Betsy, the bottleneck isn't so much of the fun, trying to balance the fun and the work and all of that. I think the bottleneck is defining how much work do you want?
Yeah, I know.
And then working backwards from there.
Yeah. And I do schedule fun on my calendar now. So there's plenty of it. And it's summer.
I think it's going back and making that connection between how many hours or how many clients or what's my income or whatever that your whatever it is, that level that you are judging a successful business that fits your lifestyle off of, whatever those benchmarks are.
Yeah.
And then walking it back to how much outreach does that really mean?
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't need to go to some of those traditional speaking places that you're working to explain that what you do isn't all that woo-woo.
Right.
Maybe you don't even know you need to go that route.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And in fact, I should be demonstrating to everybody out there that people like me can have fun, because I'm the example of the fun.
Well, it's being authentic and walking the walk. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you watching, here's what we just did. We just ran through the AWE process, Betsy and I. So A is all about awareness. And Betsy thought she had one bottleneck. We dug in a little bit more. We found out it's related, but it's a little bit different. And then from there, the W phase is work. And here's where Betsy gets to draw that bridge between where she is and where she wants to be. And in her case, it's about figuring out, okay, what is exactly the balance I want? What's the definition of success in my business? And then that final phase is E for evaluation, which is, life is grand when we do more of what works. It's just slowing down enough to figure out what's working. And and then the circle just starts up all over again. So thank you, Betsy, for playing. And for those of you watching, if you want to figure out how much your bottleneck is costing you, because it is costing you not just in time, but in money, go to impactofstrategies.com/cost. And Betsy, where can people reach you?
Best place is createandconnectbrilliantly.com. That's create with an A-N-D between create and brilliantly. Createandconnectbrilliantly.com or BetsyMuller.com. I think that'll take you to the same place.
And we'll drop all those links in the show notes of this recording. So thank you so much for your time, Betsy.
Thank you, Lisa. And thanks for helping all the women business owners out there get the most out of a day.
My pleasure.